R11.
Well, there you have it. A few proven homeowner ideas to help you save money with just a few simple changes to your daily routine. Thanks a lot for stopping by, and if you don't mind, I'm not going to leave the light on for you. See ya.
Unaware of nearby predators, the zebra starts to trot.
Pierce County is full of amazing trails that can be used right now as residents are limiting travel, limiting stays, and limiting contact to be safe and healthy. These trails, offered by Pierce County, local cities and towns, and park districts throughout our region, are beautiful spaces right in your backyard so you can limit travel and still enjoy the great outdoors. North Pierce County includes Puyallup and the Ording Valley up to the Carbon River entrance of Mount Rainier National Park. The Foothills Trail sits atop an historic railbed and snakes through the river valley connecting Puyallup and Buckley. This 21-mile trail is wildly popular with bikers, walkers, runners, and equestrians. Pierce County and many partners are working on future connections to the Puyallup Riverwalk Trail across the White River into King County and from South Prairie all the way up to Mount Rainier. Puyallup's Riverwalk Trail is a walking and bike trail located along the southern banks of the Puyallup River, connecting the city to the Foothills Trail and the Sumner Link Trail. Puyallup Loop Trail links 6 of the City of Puyallup's parks and open space properties, passing through city parks, city riparian and habitat areas, as well as city neighborhoods. This trail has both soft surface trails and sidewalk connections. Bikers have many street routes that connect the interurban trail out of King County with over 14 miles following historic rail lines. Getting out on your local trails can be an important way to improve your mental and physical health. During this time and always, safety is the #1 priority, so your trail providers want to remind you to limit travel, limit stays, limit contact, and be prepared while visiting trails at this time.
Duty officers at Pierce County Department of Emergency Management have an important role helping the community during and after an emergency. They are the eyes and ears of the department and the first point of contact when partners need additional resources and assistance with a crisis event at any time of day. Some of the duty officers' main responsibilities include coordinating with local law enforcement and fire districts, testing communication systems and equipment, and monitoring information across Pierce County for potential incidents. If a large emergency unfolds, they work with department leadership to activate the Emergency Operations Center to support the impacted communities. Duty officers hold other full-time positions at Pierce County's Department of Emergency Management and take turns throughout the year as duty officer. To support them, a duty manager coordinates with the leadership team, allowing the duty officer to concentrate on field assistance. Depending on the emergency, the duty officer can provide support by sending alerts to residents, deploying equipment, requesting regional support teams, and even activating the outdoor warning siren system if needed.
There's a lot of great work we do by just doing those tasks behind the scenes that not a lot of people know about.
Every day you come here, you're making a difference. If you're passionate about doing the best you can and helping out the community, you'll thrive.
The duty officer plays an important role in Pierce County's readiness and responsiveness to emergencies and disasters.
You're watching PCTV. See Pierce County from here.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call to order this Tuesday, July 23rd meeting of the Pierce County Council. The time is 3:05 p.m. Madam Clerk, for the very last time,
Thank you, sir.
will you please call the roll?
Don't start now. Councilmember Campbell.
Here.
Councilmember Krueger.
Here.
Councilmember Denson.
Here.
Councilmember Herrera.
Here.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Here.
Councilmember Morrell.
Excused.
Thank you. And Councilmember Mello.
Here.
There are 6 members present, Mr. Chair.
We have 6 members present and a quorum. Item number 3 is our Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, our moment of silence, and our land acknowledgement. Today's moment of silence is dedicated to Matt Driscoll, columnist and editorial page editor of the News Tribune, who passed away very unexpectedly on Sunday. Matt will be remembered for his empathy and humor and his voice, especially for those who are most marginalized in our community. Matt is often referred to as the moral compass of the South Sound. Matt leaves behind a wife and 3 kids and a work family at the News Tribune. He's lifted up so many people, communities, and his powerful voice will be deeply missed. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, led by Councilmember Denson, followed by a moment of silence dedicated to Matt Driscoll, and then the land acknowledgement read by Councilmember Denson. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We acknowledge that we are on the traditional homelands of the Coast Salish tribes. Coast Salish people have lived on and stewarded these lands since time immemorial and continue to do so today. We recognize that this land acknowledgement is one small step towards true allyship, and we commit to uplifting the voices, experiences, and histories of the Indigenous people of this land.
Thank you, Councilmember Denson. We're now at section 4, which is the approval of our agenda. Are there any objections to approving today's agenda as presented? Seeing no objection, the agenda is approved. On today's council agenda, there will be multiple opportunities for public comment. On the consent agenda, you may provide comment on any final action item. This does not include items placed on the consent agenda simply for introduction and scheduling. On today's consent agenda, there are 4 appointment resolutions for final hearing, so those are subject to public comment. Then during section 9 of today's agenda, we will take public comment on each ordinance individually. And finally, under community forum, there will be an opportunity to address the council on any topic that is not on today's agenda. For more information on the rules for public participation, please review the bottom of page 1 of today's agenda. That brings us to section 5, the consent agenda. Does any member wish to pull any item from the consent agenda? Vice Chair Campbell for a motion.
Thank you, Chair. I move approval of the consent agenda as amended, moving items 2C-D to section 8.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda with the exception of moving 2C-D to the regular meeting. We're going to open up a public hearing for the remaining final action items on the consent agenda. Does any member of the public wish to provide comment on the remaining final action items on our consent agenda? We'll start here in council chambers. Anyone here for our consent agenda? There are some appointment to consider. Not seeing anyone, Mr. Weinsberry. Anybody in our Zoom room?
Yes, sir. For any members of the public who wish to provide comment on any final action items, press the raise hand icon on Zoom or star 9 on your telephone keypad. And I see no hands at this time, Chair.
Seeing no hands, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the council. Vice Chair Campbell, can I just confirm, are we moving resolutions 182 and 183 and looking to our staff for support about the individuals that are present? $183 only? Yes, sir. Okay, so we've moved resolution 2024-183 to resolutions. Everything else is up for final action. Okay, and no one rose their hand for public comment? Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll on the consent agenda?
Councilmember Krueger.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera.
Aye.
Councilmember Denson.
Aye.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Aye.
Councilmember Morrell.
Excused.
Excuse, thank you. And Councilmember Campbell.
Aye.
And Councilmember Mello.
Aye.
The result of the roll call vote is 6 ayes and 0 nays.
On a vote of 6 ayes and 0 nays, the consent agenda is adopted. We're at section 6, messages from the executive and other county elected officials. I don't see any other county elected officials. There are no written messages from the executive, but Executive Dan Meyer is in our Zoom room. I believe he is here for one of our proclamations, but I will pause and see if Executive Dan Meyer has any other messages for us today.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You have that exactly right. I'm here to honor a certain person a little later in the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you very much for making yourself available. We are at section 7, proclamations, recognitions, awards, and presentations. Today, the Council is proud to proclaim July 26, 2024 as Americans with Disabilities Act Day in Pierce County, Washington. We have several special guests here with us to help lift up this day. So I'd like to invite all of these recipients to the podium as Councilmember Denson reads the proclamation into the record. So please come forward. We have Ivanova Smith, Lizzie Drown, Brian Johnson, and Elizabeth Johnson from Pierce County Chapter of People First of Washington. Please come to the podium. We have Nalani Linder, Executive Director, and Elizabeth Porter, Board Chair of Tacoma Area Coalition of Individuals with Disabilities. Please come to the podium. We have Tracy Turner and David Frischia, Developmental Disabilities Advisory Board members. Heidi Scheibner, Developmental Disabilities Division staff here at Pierce County. Linda and Ashley Hyatt, here from Gig Harbor, welcome. And Adrian Stewart, also an advocate here in our community. We've selected 3 of you to speak today, and we'll invite you to the podium to give remarks after Councilmember Denson reads this into the record. Councilmember Denson.
Thank you, Chair. Whereas the Americans with Disabilities Act was signed into law on July 26, 1990, establishing a clear and comprehensive national mandate for the elimination of discrimination and assurance that people of all abilities could engage fully in their communities. And whereas Pierce County recognizes and supports this clear mandate and has continually worked to expand opportunities by reducing barriers. Pierce County values an inclusive workforce, and in 2024, the Human Services and Planning and Public Works departments are prioritizing the employment of individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And whereas in 2012, the Parks and Recreation Department was awarded a more than $125,000 grant through the Washington Wildlife and Recreation Program to install a new barrier-free playground equipment, including ramps, single and double slides, climbers, talk tubes, a tunnel, overhead ladders, crisscross webs, sky wheels, and swings. ADA accessible concrete and asphalt pathways were poured to connect the playground and the parking lot. And whereas the Pierce County Council passed ordinances number 2013-43 and number 2014-11 in continued support of the Aging and Disabilities Resources and Developmental Disabilities Advisory Boards that assist Pierce County Aging and Disability Resources and Developmental Disabilities with program planning, funds allocation, and evaluation of contract services, as well as identification of unmet community needs and community education. And whereas the Pierce County Council passed ordinance number 2014-10, establishing the Accessible Communities Advisory Committee to advise the county on the needs of people with disabilities in emergency plans, construction projects, pedestrian routes of travel, elections, and voter access, and to develop initiatives and activities to promote greater awareness of disability issues, acceptance, involvement, and access for persons with disabilities within the community. And whereas on February 19th, 2019, the Pierce County Council approved resolution number R 2019-161, the ADA Transition Plan for Public Rights of Way, which identified ADA accessibility related needs on county-owned facilities within the public right-of-way, and the overall financial investment needed to bring these facilities into compliance over time. And whereas in the county's 2024-25 biennial budget, the Pierce County Council approved the creation of a Developmental Disabilities Division in Human Services to support the continued growth in the programs, including the Early Support for Infants and Toddlers program, supported employment and community inclusion services for youth and adults, and parent support, self-advocate leadership development, and resource education services for the community. And whereas the Pierce County Council joined community leaders, local leaders, and state leaders to establish a state-of-the-art inclusive playground in the city of University Place by appropriating $50,000 to the project, so kids, regardless of mental, physical, or social ability, can have fun and play together, helping decrease isolation and boost confidence and self-esteem. And whereas the Pierce County Council recognizes the contributions of individuals and community organizations that advocate for the full inclusion of individuals with disabilities, on the 34th anniversary of the signing of the American with Disabilities Act, the Pierce County Council, the Accessible Communities Advisory Committee, the Aging and Disabilities Resources Advisory Board, and the Developmental Disabilities Advisory Board celebrate and recognize the progress that has been made and commit to continue working to ensure community members of all abilities can participate fully in our community. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed on this 23rd day of July 2024 by the Council of Pierce County that July 26, 2024 is hereby Americans with Disabilities Act Day. And we urge all residents to join in our continued commitment to make the ADA's goals of equity and inclusion a reality for people with disabilities in Pierce County, Washington.
Let's give them a round of applause. We're so grateful to have so many representatives of this special community with us, for us to be able to lift up this community and celebrate. We're so grateful you made time to be with us. Let's hear from Elizabeth Johnson, Pierce County chapter of People First.
Hello, everyone. This is so exciting. This is my first council meeting that I've been to and my first proclamation that I've been to. This is pretty fun. I am so proud of the work that you guys are doing for our community. It's very much needed, so I'm not going to talk a lot.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Tracy Turner.
Well, I appreciate all you guys, and I'm a new board member for the Disability Pierce County, and I I'm Mary Kay, strong advocate, and we appreciate you guys.
Thank you for being here. Linda Hyatt.
Thank you. I didn't
Hi.
really prepare to speak, but I'll. My name is Linda Hyatt. This is my daughter, Ashley.
Hi.
Because of her disability, she doesn't communicate verbally, so
Hi.
I'll speak on her behalf. Disability affects just about all of us at some point in our lives or our families. So I think it's more about recognition than necessarily pride, and it's certainly not about shame. So it's important to realize, you know,
Hi.
someone like Ashley, she experiences disability for a lifetime. But despite that disability, people like Ashley can have meaningful lives and they can thrive.
Hi.
So thank you for this, and we appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all of our special guests for accepting our invitation to be with us, the parents, the family, the friends, the organizations who support people with disabilities. Thank you so much for accepting this invitation and helping us lift this up and celebrate you. Let me open it up to my colleagues for final remarks before we invite you up to take a photo with us so that we can further celebrate and document this day. Other remarks by council members? Councilmember Herrera.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to say thank you to all the parents out there of all the hard work and that you have done. It's good to talk about this because we've come a long way. This was, many years ago. People just were by themselves. This has affected my family, where my brother-in-law, who is he's severely autistic and can't talk very well, but I've seen the progression of over the 30 years as what services were available 30 years ago and what is available now. And those things don't happen automatically. And it's real important to talk about it and see the people who do the work and for us to know about it and to know the needs of some of our disabled folks and how that changes as they age. Parents are taking care of their children until they're adults, and then the parents may get sick themselves, and then what do we do, right? Those transitions are very important to know about and to work through. So we've come a long way, and we can do a lot better. You being here today helps us open our eyes to that, and I appreciate you being here today, and it's a good thing to talk about. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councilor Hitchin.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you all for being here from whatever part of Pierce County you drove in for. I appreciate you gracing our presence and coming to celebrate this day. I think one of the things I want to just point out is some of the work that we do at the county level. We have our specialized recreation programs that provide a lot of services, and we kind of are like the hub for the county. A lot of our cities and towns work with us to provide services, and so I think it's just one small step, one way that we help the social isolation get kind of defeated because we provide special places for special people. And I often think about when we say disability, it's really what is their ability? What are they able to do so they can find joy and purpose in their lives, and how the family can be supported in their care. And I think as a county, we continue to think about how do we support and help make the lives of people of all abilities wonderful and fulfilling. And I think we still have room to grow, and doing things like this to acknowledge and support the families that are loving these very special people is just one small way. So thank you for joining us this afternoon. Really appreciate it. And to anybody who's listening online, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Hitchin. I should have called on one other speaker. I am so sorry. Can I invite Ivanova Smith to the podium to provide remarks? Thank you for being here. We would love to hear from you.
Hello, council members. Thank you for letting me be up here. I am the co-chair of the Developmental Disability Advisory Council and the current Pierce County People First Chapter President. And I just want to say some remarks about disability pride. Disability pride is about respecting disability as a full identity for a person and respecting that person as a whole person, even with their disability. That it means respecting us as full-fledged adults. We need to advocate for services and funding to make sure that adults with disabilities get to live a full life. That means a full life, getting to have a family, getting to have children, getting to work, getting to vote, getting to pay their taxes, getting to go to the bar every now and then. All of these rights are important for people with disabilities, and it's important that that is part of disability empowerment and disability pride, that we recognize that we are full people and our full lifespan should be respected. Yes, at one time we were children, but we do not stay as children. We become adults, and we need to be supported in our community as adults. We should not be imprisoned for having our disabilities. We should be included in our communities with y'all, and I hope someday there will be more members with disabilities up there in those seats with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. What they said. Yeah. Any other final remarks by any council members? Vice Chair Campbell.
Well, I was going to say something now. I don't want to follow that. So just thank you all so much for coming out, sharing, and being such strong advocates. Don't come visit us once a year. Keep the communication coming with us. So thank you all very much.
Thank you. I want to, in closing, before we invite you up here to take a photo with us and for us to present to you with a proclamation, we have remarks from Councilmember Krueger. Councilmember Krueger.
Thank you, Joe. Just quickly, that was an amazing speech as well. It's kind of hard to follow that. I just wanted to say thank you for being here. You bring reality to being real. And sometimes when I think I have a pain, I imagine what you all must be working through and how you've persevered and how we can look up to you for your championship for the things that are good for the community. So thank you for being here. Thank you for the proclamation, and thank you, Chair.
Thank you. You know, all of you have reminded us how every facet of daily life must be inclusive for everybody. So thank you for allowing us to lift up everyone in our community. As was said, better than I can ever say. Everything from voting to recreation in the form of a bar or parks. Lots of ways to recreate in this community. Ways to get around, how we build our communities, how we build our transportation system, how people get employment, right? Absolutely everything we must look at through a lens of can everybody participate? And so thank you for helping us remind us of that, advising us, telling us when we can do better, how we can do better. We really need to count on you to continue to make us better. So please continue to do that. We would love to invite the advocate. We have so many of you, so we would love to ask those that had the opportunity to share words, if you could come all the way up here, that if the others could come in front of us here, and we'll present you with a proclamation.
Center you under this. There you go. Perfect.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you again for everyone who was here for us to celebrate Disabilities Pride Day. Thank you so much. Next up, today the Council and the County Executive are so proud to honor Denise Johnson, longtime clerk to the Pierce County Council, for 36 years of service to the Council. We are joined by many family and friends of Denise. Denise, as you can see, we're also joined by former members of the Pierce County Council who are here. We have former chairs of the Pierce County Council, including Sean Bunny and Derek Young. We have other esteemed members like Councilmember Tim Farrell and Connie Ladenburg. Am I missing any former council members? Denise, I've had so many conversations with so many other members that you have served so ably over the years. I've had conversations with Councilmember Doug Richardson and Dick Meary and Stan Fleming and Calvin Goings, all who truly, and Mayor Victoria Woodards, who you've served with in a different capacity, all who really wish they could be here. They have commitments for various reasons that keep them from being here, but you are in their thoughts and prayers, and they're celebrating your amazing career. These fine individuals were able to make time to be with us, and we're so grateful. Denise, we're going to ask you to come to the podium. We're also going to ask Denise's family and close friends, if you're here, if you would surround her while we read this proclamation into the record. We would invite you to do that.
When she's done.
Yep, absolutely. She can have all the time she needs.
I'm here.
Well, this is a proclamation of the Pierce County Council and the County Executive honoring Denise Johnson, clerk to the Pierce County Council for 36 years of service to the Council, to Pierce County government, and the community members of Pierce County, Washington. I'm so honored to read this. Whereas Denise Johnson has dedicated 36 years of exemplary service to the Pierce County Council, starting her career in 1968 as a legislative secretary for Councilmember Barbara Gelman. And whereas Denise was appointed as clerk of the council in 2003 and has faithfully served in this position for every council thereafter. And whereas throughout her tenure, Denise has served with 41 council members and 19 different council chairs.
Oh.
Yeah.
Behind me.
This has consistently demonstrated her commitment to the legislative process, meticulously maintaining a full and true record of every act and proceeding of the council, and providing dedicated and invaluable legislative expertise to Pierce County elected officials and staff in her role in a professional and nonpartisan manner. And whereas Denise has been a certified municipal clerk for over 30 years and has actively participated in the International Institute of Municipal Clerks, the Washington Association of County Commissioners and County Clerks, and the Pierce County Clerks Association, thereby furthering her professional development and contributing significantly to the community of municipal clerks. And whereas significant changes have occurred in council operations since her appointment as clerk of the council, which Denise handled with grace and professionalism, providing leadership to the associate clerks as they navigated those same changes. Denise witnessed the evolution of workplace technology, from using carbon paper copies to now conducting meetings via Zoom.
Yes.
And whereas Denise's institutional knowledge is truly irreplaceable, having been a firsthand witness to council actions that have made enduring changes to Pierce County, she can recall the implementation of the indoor smoking ban, advancements in recycling, the establishment of the Law and Justice Commission, and efforts to combat domestic violence, all of which have significantly impacted this community. And whereas Denise feels honored that the council appointed her clerk of the council, the council likewise is honored that Denise, a consummate professional in all respects, has been willing to serve throughout these years. And whereas Denise will miss her council family, is that true?
Yes. Big time, big time.
Whereas Denise will miss her council family and the opportunity her work provided to stay informed on current issues in the county and each council district, in turn, staff will miss her knowledge, her kindness, and her sense of humor, demonstrated by her jokes and riddles in each of her council agenda markups. And whereas Denise looks forward to enjoying her well-deserved retirement, which includes sleeping in, traveling out of state to visit family and friends, and spending more quality time with her family, particularly her grandson, who is transitioning to college and adulthood. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed on this 23rd day of July, 2024, by the Pierce County Council and County Executive, that Pierce County honors Denise Johnson, clerk to the Pierce County Council, for 36 years of service, and wishes her well as she embarks on a new and fulfilling journey in her retirement. Let's give her a round of applause. Madam Clerk.
I think it is scripture that says, I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, but fire me. It says, all thy ways acknowledge him, he shall direct thy path. I'm thankful, so thankful. I brought my babies, when I started here, my twins were 3 or 4 years old. They weren't even in school. And it's so important. I leaned on them for support. As you were reading that, I was getting weak, believe it or not. I was like, oh my gosh. And they were here. I appreciate that. Came in here, single mom, young girlish figure, still got that. And leaving much, much older, and I have a grandson starting college. So, and it was a big decision as things happened, and recently, that kind of, when are you going to do this? There's a sign I had forever on my desk. I saw it, and it hit me like, what's going on? I thought of my grandson. He started another life in this another part of his life. My babies, they were all the long hours I worked here as they were growing up. I didn't want to do it for another generation, and I didn't know it was going to come out this soon, honestly. I didn't know it was going to be that quick. But I'm so thankful to the council, even the former council members right behind me, that who trusted me. And you guys, a lot of you heard one of my interview questions I got asked by Jerry Rainwater, good mentor and friend at the time. How long will I work for the council office? That was an interview question. And I'm thinking, what do I say? Because I don't like to lie. I said, I couldn't answer. I said, 2 weeks, 2 years, I don't know. I really can't promise that. But in so many words, it's time to go, it's time to go. I didn't know when it was going to be. 36 and technically a half years later, like a little kid and a half, I reached that decision, and I'm at peace with that. It was a big decision. I'm going to miss all of the people at Pierce County. I'm going to get a lot of calls. People are calling me, is it true? Is it true? Are you really leaving? Susan Long, who was a supervisor to me as well as a friend. I look at Mr. Smooth over there, Mike. Inside joke right there. And I don't even want to call. There's so many people, new people, older people. Our new supervisor who's cool. I mean, just so many people around me in my family that came. New directors over there. And she has to represent. I'm telling you, DNI, Pierce County, keep it up. So, Hugh, I'm not going to call names. Cheryl, too many people. T-Man, family. As well, and my sister, Linda. Linda, and my niece. Okay, here we go. Calling names. Didn't start that. But everyone is here that came out and make a special trip to come here. I'm very more humbled, just humbled that you came to see little Niecy. I'm just Denise. Chair Ryan, thank you for your service unto me, for allowing me to be here. And all of you guys, it took one vote, and it takes one person to have an idea, up to the council to carry that idea forward. I ask you guys to please continue representing Pierce County. Yes, your party put you up in here, your politicians, a political office, but don't let too much politics get in the way of making good decisions. I mean that. You know, because I've been here a long time. And I know you're politicians, but you're humans before you became a politician. You're somebody's mom, friend, whatever it is, before you came. I'm going to sit down before I get my check cut in half. All right, I love you all. I love you all. Thank you, everyone who's behind me. Thank you. I just thank you for so much, for everything coming. Okay, I'm going. I got to take notes now.
We do have final remarks from the executive and other council members. Let me turn to County Executive Bruce Dammeier to begin remarks. Executive Dammeier.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the opportunity to address the resolution before the council. For the record, Bruce Dammeier, I have the privilege of being the executive of all of the people of Pierce County. And Denise, I want to take a little license here. I'm going to speak on behalf of the nearly 1 million residents of Pierce County and the nearly over 3,000 members of the executive branch of Pierce County to say thank you for your service. Thank you for your 36 and a half years of service to the people of Pierce County and to your colleagues in Pierce County. It has meant a lot. I'm also here to speak on behalf of the 5 of 6 county executives who have served with you, and particularly the last three, including me, and County Executive McCarthy and County Executive Ladendorf, I figure we've signed thousands of ordinances that you have processed on behalf of the council. So we have appreciated all of your work, and the executive departments appreciate your work. You've always been the consummate professional up there, and it's been a pleasure for everybody to work with you. Denise, when I think of the last 36 years, and I think of the change that you've seen and have been part of, it's kind of staggering to do that at this time, because there has been a lot in 36 and a half years. But more, when I think of you, I think of the impact you have had, the stalwart impact you have had on the culture of our county government, of all of the people that you have impacted as colleagues. That's where it's ordinances and the work of the council was just the vehicle for you to be who you are with the people that you serve with in Pierce County. So, you know, and I know that I have loved working with you. I love that you are professionalism with a personality. And that has always been awesome. I will miss you. I will miss your smile. But I am so excited that you have this chance, that you have to thank you for the work and that you have a chance to enjoy a well-deserved retirement. Thank you, Denise, and thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. With the permission of my council members, it looks like there are some former council members who wish to speak. If there's no objection, let's allow that.
Wait, we can object? He didn't even pause.
I don't even know how to run this thing. I remember when we bought this thing, it was like a, you know, I don't know what it was, but.
Former Councilmember Bunny.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you, I mean it, thank you for recognizing me, but I also mean thank you for taking the time to pick up the phone and call a whole lot of old council members and let them know that this wonderful occasion is occurring. And appreciate that. And Denise, just to put this in a little bit of context, I was hired here in, what year was that? 1992 as the legal intern for the Pierce County Council. At that time, they hired me to do, we did all of the land use appeals. All Steve Cousseau's decisions would come through here. And I was in law school, had returned from Washington, D.C., but the new guy on the block. And in 1992 and beyond, because I stayed since 1992, Denise was a friendly face, someone I could always go to and trust. To kind of, she had this slogan, I think everything, she said, keep it real. Everything was real, keep it real. That was the thing. And so we did keep it real. And we had that was one of the most fun times to be on the council. And I think all of you guys would agree that your class is better than the next one and the next one. But we had a ton of fun when we were on staff. But my feelings were, this was somebody that I had a trust relationship that I could take stuff to. If it was as a staff person, if I had screwed up an amendment or I needed to get a technical fix or I needed an ordinance, you know, on an amended agenda that we had to get through. Denise was quick, seamless, helpful, knowledgeable, all of those things. And so in 2003, when I had left council staff and joined the council members, we did have an opening for a clerk. And I would like to say that when we sat down to have that conversation, every single 7 council members had similar kinds of views of who Denise was and why she would make one hell of a clerk. And I think that even some of the things that she said are reflective of what I want to say, is that in a clerk's role, you want somebody that everyone trusts. There are things that happen, that you want your stuff dealt with. You want to know that they're not stacking the vote count and jamming people, that they're just out of the politics, supporting the system, making sure it works well, and giving an even playing field for all 7 members that come here to do the work of the people of Pierce County. And I think that that's the model, and I think that it's a good reason why you've been here for 36 years and helped keep it all together. And I would also like, I missed a piece which I just wanted to say is when she got hired, when we first came in, and I think that Susan would attest to this too, very early in the creation of this institution, that in '81 was when the charter passed, and so there was no council before that. And then Denise would represent like one of, I think, 2 hires that the council made for their first council member assistants. And that was at that year, that was when they brought her on. And then I was brought on in 92 or 93 officially. But all the things that have come and gone through that time and how this institution has grown, and she's been a major part of that. So Denise, have a wonderful life. Keep it real. Love you. Thank you for all your service. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Councilmember Lannenberg.
Councilmember. That's a title I haven't heard in 4 years. First I want to clarify, Connie Ladenburg, for the record. That's weird to be over here. I just want to clarify something that the former speaker just said when he said the old council members. I'm not an old council member. I'm a former council member. Just saying. Obviously, we're here to thank Denise for all of her service. I would just like to tell people that might be, tuning in, what her work meant to us to get our work done, because we wouldn't be sitting up there when I was sitting up there ready to vote on things unless she hadn't got everything ready for us to vote on it. And then it didn't stop with our vote. She was the ultimate record keeper. So everything that we do here as elected officials is dependent on her work. And she excelled at doing her work. I don't remember any of the times when I was here on the council that anyone had a complaint about the clerk. It just never happened. She just got it done. And we kind of got spoiled because we knew that she would get it done. So thank you for helping us to be good council members, hopefully. But your work is what did it, what made us successful. So thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Latimer. Councilmember Young, Chair Young.
Is that old Chair Young? I just want to do this. Yeah, I never got to do that before. Yes. So my name is Derek Young, and had the privilege of serving on the council a year and a half ago, and 8 years with my former office neighbor, Denise Nisi. And I just wanted to say I can't improve on some of the comments that were made by Executive Dan Meyer and my other colleagues, former colleagues. But I just wanted to say how important Denise is to this organization, and frankly, all the clerks. People don't realize, and one of the reasons we honored them every year is that the work of the council can't get done without the work of the clerks. And you also look at how they are the glue of the organization. So those of us that have come and gone, they've stuck around and kept the place moving and served you all as well. So I'm grateful for all your years of service. And Denise, I speak on behalf, as always, I did during our time together, of Doug Richardson, who we always agreed on everything. So he just said, just speak for me. But he wanted to be here, was unable to, but echoed my comments as well as former chairs of the council who really get to work with the clerks the closest, and you see really the mechanics of what goes on behind the scenes, and it's truly a humongous effort. So thank you, Denise, for everything. I also have the privilege of serving as interim executive director of the Washington State Association of Counties. And one of the things that we do, in addition to serving all of our elected members, members of the council, executives, and commissioners, is we serve as the organization for our affiliates, for staff members, including the Clerks Association. One of the first things I picked up on as I was visiting with the clerks early on in my time was how much Denise not only means to Pierce County, but to organizations across the state. And they all brought her up when I mentioned that I was from Pierce County and how much they admired her, learned from her, and how much her mentorship meant over the years. And so I wanted to bring something on behalf of the Washington State Association of Counties, thanking Denise Richards, Denise Johnson for... Now, here's what I am going to say. I got bad information from a certain council chair, and that shorted you 4.5 years on here, so I will get you a replacement because it thanks you for your work for 32 years of service. So I don't know, maybe there was 4.5.
Not the clerk.
Maybe there was 4.5 years that Councilmember Mello didn't appreciate on there. I don't know. You've not only been a important coworker and mentor, but a friend to many. You've set an example to be followed in the future, cherished by those of us who were fortunate enough to have experienced it for ourselves. So thank you very much, Denise.
For the record, had I just linked Derek to the item that you uploaded to the website, I would have gotten him to the accurate information. So I should know better than to rely on my memory.
Could just look at the sticker on her door.
Councilmember Farrell.
When we got this, Calvin was really happy about this thing, and I remember him playing with it. Calvin, Dan, and Barbara send their best to you, Denise. And they all love working with you, as did I. You were very helpful when I first got on the council, and both you and Victoria trained me quite well to occasionally roll over, play dead, and do what I'm told. It was always fun to have Denise Johnson working for us. Denise was the calm in a storm. That storm sometimes included mistakes of our own making. Sometimes it included things like the Great Recession, which made it very difficult for all of us, where we had to make so many difficult decisions with staffing. And she kept all of our hands and arms inside the roller coaster as I went over probably one of the bumpiest rides we've had in a generation. Denise was very open with her colleagues and allowed us to come in and sit down and talk off the record about just about anything. And she was always interested in how we were doing at home, fun constituent stories, fun political stories, anything that allowed for a humanizing effort to be shared with the colleagues in hopes that we would all, despite our many political differences, be able to get along and work as a team. And she was a great coach in that effect. Denise was the glue that held together this government. I don't think the word council is an appropriate term. I think the government was held together by people like Denise. And this has been not the best of years for all of us in Pierce County. And having Denise retire is a loss for local government. But she's around here to continue to give us advice and the love and the and all the friendship and the fun little snacks that she'd bring to some of us who really needed a sugar high during those long council meetings that some chairs would do. You are so loved, and you are respected, and you are the best of us. And I really thank you for working with us.
Thank you again to our former council members for accepting our invitation to be here to help honor the amazing Denise Johnson. Are there final remarks by council members? Councilmember Hitchin.
Thank you, Chair. Denise, thank you for teaching me how to be a good council member. You understood what needed to happen to get policy across the board and the logistics, and you knew who in the office, and you guided calmly and nudged sometimes to make sure that I always looked good. And that is what our professional staff does. And while I don't know what the next chapter looks like for you, I am really excited that at 3 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon, I know where you will not be. Maybe you'll go find a bar and you will be able to enjoy. And I look forward to getting updates from you and your family as to where you're headed off to and what you're able to do, because it's retirement, it's the next chapter, and you've left a legacy of professional staff at the county, and the work you've done has just been phenomenal, and you are not thanked enough. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Krueger.
Thank you, Chair. And I really appreciate this opportunity to comment on how wonderful Denise has been. You know, we are here with a sign of the times, and you're entering your next season here. And I remember back in 2013 when I first came here, and you were the overly welcoming person there on the floor. And over the years, I'm not going to forget those late night talks that we have had, because you always stay so late. There's no time for you that isn't spent thinking about what goes on at the council. And those late night talks in the chamber or in your office, and how we shared a love for the Tootsie Rolls and hot tamales. And we share in a shoe fetish. And, you know, and I'm going to miss the girl talks. And I just want to say thank you for the memories, that your name is now historical, and I'm wishing you the best on this next season of life for you. Thank you. Thank you.
Vice Chair Kimball.
Thank you, Chair. I'll try to be brief. Just thank you. No. Yes, I promise to be brief. Thank you so much for all your work and just warmth, and personally your support over the last 2 years has meant the world to me. You've been just right there and always checking in, and I appreciate that a lot. I'm just going to deeply miss your caring that you have about every individual that you come across, your wit, your wisdom, and advice. And I don't know who, I'm now going to go in and look through their CD collection that they still have in their office to see what CD we might listen to today. I will miss that, and I will miss you. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Campbell. Councilmember Denson.
Thank you, Chair. Well, I am the newest council member, so I've really had the opportunity over the last year and a half to experience the wealth of knowledge and wisdom that Denise brings, that clearly a lot of other people have talked about. I think our experiences have been a lot similar. So coming here not knowing how council operates or any of this, and being a real worrywart and a total control freak, I cannot tell you the number of times that my assistant John is like, don't worry about it, Denise handles all that. Whether it was here or in district meetings, you know, I'm like, but how? He's like, you don't need to worry about that. She takes care of all of that. So I don't even know the extent of what you do, except that I think I gathered from everybody else that I could trust you. And I do not trust easily. So thank you for that. And I didn't ever worry, because I knew that you had our back. It's just not going to be the same without you when you announce. It's just one of those things that is just so shocking, because you're part of this institution. You are the best of us. Somebody said that, and that really spoke to me. But I also want you to know that you are leaving us in good standing, that you deserve this, and that you have left us in such a good position that we are stable. We know what we're doing. Well, I don't, but I'm sure somebody does. I'm sure you've trained someone. We are going to be okay, and I know that you care enough about this council that I don't want you to give that a worry. You are leaving us in such a good position that we're going to be able to carry on because of the foundation that you've laid for us. And then just like Councilmember Krueger said, I'm excited for you and your next adventure. Your family, your friends deserve to have you. You deserve this. I can't wait, like Councilmember Hitchens said, to hear. I want you to just go out and do amazingly awesome, fun things and take care of yourself and your grandson and the rest of your family. And we're all really happy for you. So thank you.
Councilmember Herrera.
Thank you, Chair. Not much more to be said, Denise, but you are definitely cut from the cloth of service. Can only imagine having to deal with the dozens and dozens of different council members, personalities, chairs. I mean, you could have worked somewhere else where it had been more stable in some things. I can imagine the book that you could write and what some of the titles what some of the titles of those chapters would be called. I can only imagine. But you are a testament of history of Pierce County. You've seen it from backwards and forwards, and you know the personalities that are behind these walls here, and you've seen the good, the bad, and everything else that comes with it. But that's a testament of your service, and you're cut from it. So I'll give you 2 words, 8 letters. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Herrera. Denise, before we invite you up here to take a photo with us, you have our deepest love and respect and gratitude for your amazing career of public service. You know, it's been noted by others. There's lots of times throughout the year where the work of the council keeps many of us here really late, especially during budget time or comprehensive plan time or different things through the cycle of our year. Many of us are here really late, really, really late, and we get punchy. And you're really fun late at night. You're fun all the time. But those are some fun memories. You are truly the consummate professional. One of the many things that I deeply respect, not only do you do your job exceptionally well, as has been noted, I just could not imagine, you know, moving from literally carbon copies of paper and writing everything in typewriters to Zoom. And those transitions are so difficult. And you've weathered those transitions just beautifully. It is so hard to change. It is so hard to transition. But you have done that with such grace. And I've seen you stick up for the quality of life and the morale and the respect of your peers and your colleagues in this office. You want this to be a respectful workplace, a fun workplace, and a culture where everyone shows up to do their best work, has fun doing it, and is respected for doing it. And I'm grateful that you've been a voice for other employees so that everyone can show up and be respected and be their full self and be their best self. So on behalf of the council, on behalf of the people of Pierce County, thank you so much for everything. We know when we get to talk with you, whether it's over lunch or those late nights when we have some downtime, when we're waiting for an amendment to be drafted or something, or we're here late, we have some downtime. All the time, you talk about your family. All the time. You talk about your kids, you talk about your grandson, you talk about your family, and how proud you are of them. And we are so looking forward that you get to spend all the time that you want with your family and do what you want to do with your time for a change. So you've earned it. You deserve it. We're so proud of you. We know your family is too. Denise, we're going to take 3 photos. We're going to ask you to come up and do 1 photo with the current council. We're going to then invite the former council members to take a photo, and then we're going to get out of the way and we're going to ask family and friends to come and take a photo. Okay, so come on up, please. Let's do one with you with the current council. So we're actually going to take a 5-minute recess to allow Denise to say goodbye to friends and family because she still has to staff the rest of this meeting. So we'll be in recess for 5 minutes. Well, welcome back from our brief recess and the opportunity that we had to recognize and appreciate our amazing longtime clerk to the Pierce County Council. With the permission of the council, I'd like to go back to the resolution that we pulled from the consent agenda. So it's resolution 2024-183. Councilmember Hitchen for a motion, please.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move Resolution 2024-183.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adopt Resolution 2024-183. Madam Clerk, will you please read the title into the record?
Proposal number R 2024-183, a resolution of the Pierce County Council confirming the appointment of 2 new members, Laura Swaddell and Jerry Trudeau, to the Pierce County Conservation Futures and Open Space Citizens Advisory Board. Thank you.
Thank you. Laura, I see you in our Zoom room. Thank you for making yourself available and your willingness to serve on the Conservation Futures Citizens Advisory Board. We would love for you to briefly introduce yourself and share why you wish to serve.
Okay, great. I am Laura. I am late 30s. I have a background in ecology and project management and engineering. And I moved to Pierce County a couple years ago, and it's gorgeous here. And so being able to serve and, help in any fashion with balancing kind of conservation with the needs of the populace, right? So it's an honor.
Thank you very much for being here. Do any members of the council have any questions for Laura? I don't see any. Thank you, Laura. I don't see Jerry Trudeau in the Zoom room. Do you, Mr. Weinsbury? Do you see Jerry Trudeau in the Zoom room?
No, sir.
And Jerry Trudeau's not here in council chambers, as far as I can tell. We do have the benefit of both of these appointees' written background information in our council packet. So we had the ability to read and ask questions already in preparation for the meeting, so thank you for that. With there being no questions from council, let's go to a public hearing. So the public hearing on resolution 2024-183. Any member of the public wish to provide comment on this appointment resolution? We'll start here in council chambers. Please come to the podium. Not seeing anybody come to the podium on this matter. Mr. Weinsbury, will you see if there's anyone in the Zoom room?
Yes, sir. For any members of the public who wish to provide comment on proposal number R 2024-183, press the raise hand icon on Zoom or star 9 on your telephone keypad. And I see no hands at this time, Chair.
With no hands, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the council. Are there final remarks by council members? I'll just, Councilmember Hitchen.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Laura, for your willingness to do this, and also for sticking around as we recognized a very important person in the council and a population we were excited to share. So thank you for your willingness to serve.
Thank you, Councilmember Hitchen. I too want to add gratitude. You know, we have a great Conservation Futures program. It's well staffed. It's a great board of community volunteers who care deeply about this amazing place and wanting to protect some of the last remaining places that make this county such a special place to live. So thank you for your willingness to continue to bring integrity and seriousness to the Conservation Futures program. It's how we continue to protect family farms and parks and open space and everything that makes Pierce County wonderful. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll on Resolution 2024-183?
Councilmember Denson.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera.
Aye.
Councilmember Hitchen.
Aye.
Councilmember Morrell is excused. Councilmember Campbell.
Excused.
Councilmember Krueger.
Aye.
And Councilmember Mello.
Aye.
The result of the roll call vote is 5 ayes and 0 nays.
On a vote of 5 ayes and 0 nays, the resolution is adopted. We're at ordinances now. We have ordinance 2024-528 before us. Councilmember Krueger for a motion, please.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move O2024-528 for consideration.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adopt ordinance 2024-528. Madam Clerk, please read the title into the record.
Proposal number O2024-528, an ordinance of the Pierce County Council amending Chapter 17C.60 of the Pierce County Code, International Fire Code, adopting findings of fact and setting an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kruger, to brief the council.
Good afternoon, Chair Mello and council members. The proposal before you this afternoon would amend various sections of Pierce County Code, Title 17C, which is Pierce County's Building and Fire Code. Counties and cities in Washington state are required to enact state and building code standards, which includes the International Building Code, the International Residential Code, and the International Fire Code, and several other building and fire codes specified by state law. The purpose of these codes is to protect the health and safety and welfare of the occupants or users of buildings, as well as the general public. Many of the proposed amendments update local fire code requirements consistent with state and national codes and make various technical adjustments. I'm going to quickly run through the various chapters of the code that are being amended, and I would note that Ken Rice, who is the Pierce County Fire Marshal, is here. They can elaborate on any of these amendments if you have additional questions. The first section of code that's proposed to be amended concerns definitions. The changes in definitions would eliminate a provision that deals with substantial alteration of buildings. That section of the code would be eliminated. There are several minor fee adjustments included in the proposal. There are changes to emergency vehicle access requirements. Those modifications are based upon the operational needs of the various fire service agencies in the county. There are amendments proposed to fire flow requirements. Amendments include modifications based upon the operational needs of the fire service agencies, and this proposal would include additional options for fire flow credits. Those changes create flexibility in those standards. There's changes to the minimum standards for fire flow water mains and hydrants. There's changes to the automatic sprinkler system requirements for various occupancies, and provides, again, flexibility for modification of sprinkler system requirements under various circumstances. There are proposed amendments to the emergency responder communication coverage standards, including a new permit and review process. There are proposed amendments to fire alarm system standards, and there's clarification between commercial versus the residential fire alarm system standards. There are proposed amendments to the fire code provisions that relate to gates. The provisions here would provide consistency with the International Fire Code related to gates. The section of code that concerns dry standpipes would be removed. That section would be eliminated because it's not something that's getting implemented. The next section of amendment concerns the Plan Development District section of code, mainly technical amendments, but also changes to the automatic sprinkler system requirements that are to provide consistency with amendments in a previous section that I mentioned related to sprinklers. There are also amendments to the subdivision requirements. Again, many technical changes as well as amendments to provide consistency with the changes to the sprinkler system amendments. And there's obligations for fire lane striping. And then finally, there's an amendment that concerns the elimination of the bond or the cash deposit obligation when there's fireworks shows, and there would be an elimination of the funding that's provided for cleanup based upon those shows. This proposal was considered by the Community Development and Environment Committee on June 17th. The proposal was forwarded to the full council with a due pass recommendation. And again, Mr. Chair, Ken Rice, who is the Pierce County Fire Marshal, is here and can provide comments related to any of the amendments. And there is one technical amendment to the proposal that I'm happy to explain at the appropriate time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kruger. Let's invite up Mr. Rice, Pierce County's Fire Marshal, for further comments.
Good evening, Chair, members of council. Thank you for allowing me to come and chat with you about this ordinance. If I could just have a few minutes to overview. I've been with the county approximately 2 years and came in as your new fire marshal. One of the first things I wanted to do was look through the code section and figure out what am I dealing with, how long has it been there. And I had a hard time getting through our code and understanding it. It was difficult, and I've been in codes for decades. So I took a lot of time and met with my team. I met with industry. I met with the fire chiefs to go through and see how can we make this. I think when I presented to committee, I used a pantry analogy, like in my house, where stuff just keeps getting put in there and nothing gets removed, and then I can't find anything, and my wife's like, it's right there. So just to make it clear and concise for everybody and equitable, I think, because some of the stuff in code was not equitable for folks that may be in a lower income bracket or just want a very inexpensive home or a modular home. So I just took it line by line and went through it. I think the document presents itself. It's clear, it's concise. We've added, as Mike spoke, there's a lot of flexibility in that code. Road surfaces used to have to be pavement or concrete. The fire code says you can have an all-weather surface, could be compacted gravel. There's many, many options. So what we tried to do is present the code with as many flexible options and still keep life safety at a maximum. Because I can tell you, every victim that I have to remove from a fatal fire scene is tough. So we don't want that. It's going to continue to happen. But what I find is when there's too much regulation, people start doing what's required by code and hope they don't get caught. I'd much rather have the code where people are like, well, that's pretty easy, it's fair, and we can afford to do it. So they go through that code process, which we get subject matter experts to review and inspect. It makes a lot of sense. And we did get a letter of support from the Pierce County Fire Chiefs Association and the Master Builders Association. There was a lot of work from both of those partners with me and my staff to put together what I think is pretty good. May not be perfect, but we'll have another shot at it. But I think it's a pretty good document.
Thank you, Mr. Fire Marshal. Are there any questions for our Fire Marshal or Mr. Kruger before we open up for a public hearing? Councilmember Denson.
Well, thank you for being here, Fire Marshal Rice, and thank you. Just wanted to thank you for your work on this. And I think you make a good point that when our rules are too convoluted or too expensive, then people will try to get around them, and we see that, and that has the absolute opposite effect. It makes things less safe. And I know I've had people in some of my rural areas complain about the issue you brought up about driveways having to be concrete or asphalt, where crushed gravel makes a lot more sense for these long driveways and is perfectly acceptable. These were people actually that were in the fire service, so they knew what would work. And so I appreciate you taking a realistic, efficient, and practical look at this. And like you said, we'll see if there's tweaks that we need to make in the future, we'll make them. But getting back to kind of what's absolutely necessary, yet still safe, because we always want to put safety first, and I know that you do. So I just wanted to thank you for all of your work and to the stakeholders that contributed to this as well. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't see any other questions at this time. Thank you, Mr. Fire Marshal. We have Council Amendment number 1 before us. Let's dispose of that before we open up for a public hearing. Councilmember Hitchin, to move Council Amendment number 1, please.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move Council Amendment number 1 to O 2024-528.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adopt Council Amendment number 1. Mr. Kruger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Council Amendment number 1 is a technical amendment. The amendment would insert the effective date of the ordinance, and that date would be September 1st, 2024. The amendment would also recognize the date of the Community Development and Environment Committee meeting, which was June 17th, as well as the council meeting today, July 23rd, 2024. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Kruger on this technical amendment? Not seeing any. We're going to take a voice vote on the adoption of Council Amendment number 1. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion is adopted. We now have Ordinance 2024-528 before us as amended. We're going to open this up for a public hearing on this ordinance. We'll start here in council chambers. Anybody in council chambers wish to provide comment on this ordinance? We'll invite you to the podium. Seeing no one in council chambers come forward, Mr. Weinsbury, anybody in our Zoom room?
Yes, sir. For any members of the public who wish to provide comment on proposed number O 2024-528, press the raise hand icon in Zoom or *9 on your telephone keypad. And it looks like we have one hand at this time, Chair. Excuse me. Phone number ending in 874. Please state your name for the record.
Yes, Chair Mello, ladies and gentlemen of the Pierce County Council, this is Thomas Wick. I have a question for Mr. Rice regarding this code amendment and update. So a few years back, prior to his arrival, I alerted the Pierce County leadership to an event that occurred at our home where our natural gas fireplace actually self-ignited in the middle of the night. And we didn't have any pets that could have done it, no children, so it was just my wife and I, and we were asleep, of course. And it almost burned our house down. And when I went to go turn this thing off, there was no power in the remote control because the batteries were out of the remote control. So it was like a poltergeist moment. Anyway, I shared that with Pierce County leadership, and I had hoped that somebody from the fire marshal's office would have contacted me to investigate this, maybe ask and inquire about the make, model, if there were some any special circumstances that would have caused this. And I never received no contact from anybody. So my question for Mr. Rice, is there something in this amendment, this update, where if a citizen does report something like that, that the fire marshal's office would initiate some sort of investigation just to ensure, again, this is about public safety? Well, that's my question for Mr. Rice. Thank you, Chair Mello and council members, for allowing me to speak on that.
And at this time, we have no other hands, Chair.
Thank you. With no other hands, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the council. Mr. Rice, I'll ask you to follow up separately with Mr. Wick. We can get you Mr. Wick's contact information and make sure he can get a proper response from you. We take folks' safety really seriously, but we want to, asking you to respond on the fly here is not fair, and I'm not sure you could, without more context, you can't provide an accurate response. So we want Mr. Wick to get a proper, accurate response, and you need more time and more information in order to do that. So we'll get Mr. Wick's contact information to you and ask you to, one of you or one of your team members to please follow up with him. Thank you. We've closed the public hearing. We're on the final passage of these updates to the fire code. Are there any final remarks by council members? Councilmember Krueger.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to recognize Fire Marshal Rice and all the hard work he put into doing this. It's a lot of tedious wording and things to go through, and I appreciate the time he took to make sure the wording was right, consulting with others who are users of the code or have to follow the code. And I just want to give accolades. I was very pleased to read all of the changes that were made. So thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Krueger. I completely agree with Councilmember Krueger. Hats off to the really good, thoughtful work by our fire marshal. I really like the pantry analogy. It really resonates with me. I tell my partner to stop putting more stuff in the pantry. He refuses to listen. So that analogy really resonates with me. Thank you for taking a good hard look at the code, all the reasons you said why the stakeholder work was so important to do with key stakeholders. So thank you for the good work. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll on ordinance 2024-528?
Thank you. Councilmember Herrera.
Aye.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Aye.
Councilmember Morrell and Campbell are excused. Councilmember Krueger.
Aye.
Councilmember Denson.
Aye.
And Councilmember Mello.
Aye.
The result of the roll call vote is 5 ayes and 0 nays.
On a vote of 5 ayes and 0 nays, the ordinance is adopted. We're at our final ordinance this evening. We have ordinance 2024-536 before us. Councilmember Hitchin for a motion, please.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move ordinance 2024-536.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adopt ordinance 2024-536. For the very last time in her public service career, Madam Clerk, will you please read the title into the record?
I'm honored. Proposal number O 2024-536. An ordinance of the Pierce County Council ratifying the collective bargaining agreement reached with the professional and technical employees, local number 17 engineering unit, effective January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2025, and amending the Pierce County salary classification plan. You did that to me.
Thank you. Ms. Chapman, to brief the council.
Yes, thank you, Chair Mello. Rebecca Chapman, council staff. This is a 2-year collective bargaining agreement with the Professional and Technical Employees Union, Local Number 17 Engineering Unit. It runs from January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2025. It impacts 213.5 employees from the engineering unit within Planning and Public Works in 2024 and 214.5 employees in 2025. The primary fiscal change from the 2022-2023 agreement are the wage increases of 4% in 2024 and 4% in 2025. This has a fiscal impact of just over $1 million in 2024 and just over $2 million in 2025. And we do have staff from Human Resources. Matthew Wood and Melissa Arnold are both available in Zoom for additional questions.
Thank you. Ms. Arnold, what do you have to add on behalf of the department?
Nothing to add. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for being available for our questions. Do any council members have any questions before we open up for a public hearing? Well, not seeing any. This is a public hearing on ordinance 2024-536, this collective bargaining agreement with Local 17, the engineering unit. Any member of the public wish to provide comment on this collective bargaining agreement? We'll start here in council chambers. Not seeing anybody rush to the podium. Mr. Weinsbury, anybody in our Zoom room?
Yes, sir. For any members of the public who wish to provide comment on proposal number 2024-536, press the raise hand icon in Zoom or *9 on your telephone keypad. And I see no hands at this time, Chair.
With no hands, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the council. Are there final remarks on this ordinance? I'll just add, we've studied this in numerous ways in closed sessions and in study sessions, and so you don't hear a lot of questions from council because we've studied this and have had many conversations with the labor relations team. Thank you to the labor relations team for working hard with these employees to get to this agreement and one of the final collective bargaining agreements for the biennium. So thank you. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll on ordinance 2024-536?
Councilmember Hitchen.
Aye.
Councilmember Krueger. Councilmember Krueger.
Aye.
Thank you. Councilmember Denson.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera.
Aye.
And Councilmember Mello.
Aye.
The result of the roll call vote is 5 ayes and 0 nays.
On a vote of 5 ayes and 0 nays, the ordinance is adopted.
Yes.
Your final one. You still have lots of paperwork to do to get it to me for signature, but that concludes our business for the evening. Moves us to section 10, community forum. Community forum is an opportunity for members of the public to address the council on any topic that is of significance to or affecting Pierce County government and that did not appear on today's agenda. There is a 3-minute time limit. Please state your name if you would like it on the record. And please address all your comments to the chair. We'll start with those in council chambers. Anyone in council chambers wish to participate in community forum? Welcome. Please state your name for the record.
Hello, Brian Brandt with Washington State University, Pierce County Extension and the 4-H program. Just wanted to stop by and visit and thank you for your support for our program. It is your county's youth program, made way back, 100+ years, Smith-Lever Act. They started Extension in this partnership with the counties. So it only exists with a county partner, or else it doesn't. And each county is different based on the needs of that county. So you'll see programs are very different from county to county. So I have that pleasure of working here and trying to find the needs of the county and set up programs that meet those needs. So the good news is, from earlier support from the council, we're back to our pre-COVID numbers, and we're doing pretty well for the size of staff we have, so we're really happy with that. So a lot of kids, young people are getting served. And then also I wanted to make sure, you're going to get this later at another meeting, but about the county fair, but I'm inviting you there also. And I know you're all excited about this. I'm giving you the first ever Pierce County Fair 4-H scavenger hunt for Pierce County Council members to find job development happening at the county fair. All right, so you'll each get one of these. I invite you to come to the fair, and then you can turn it into a booth for a prize, and it won't be anything expensive, I guarantee that. But it's just, I just wanted to highlight that's one of the big reasons we have the fair. It's indirect, even though kids are having fun and doing that stuff. It is about their projects, but we're sneaking in all the stuff around job development. So you will find young people there who are going to be the business partners, business owners in our community in the future. Some of them even do business stuff now. We have stuff around STEM, so they're preparing for STEM careers. They are learning a lot of stress management skills because it is a pressure cooker at the fair. And a lot of great volunteers are helping those young people with those skill sets. So that's one of the things we do there. So I challenge you all to come to the county fair and have fun and do the scavenger hunt.
All right. Thank you very much for the invitation. We do look forward to that. Anyone else here in council chambers wish to participate in community forum? Not seeing anyone, Mr. Weinsberry, anybody in our Zoom room?
Yes, sir. For any members of the public who wish to provide comment, press the raise hand icon on Zoom or *9 on your telephone keypad. And it looks like we have two hands at this time, Chair. First one ending in 874. Please state your name for the record.
Yes, Chair Mello, this is Thomas Wick again. I wanted to ask, who did you say was excused on the council, so I kind of know who I'm addressing?
Myself.
Well, you said 2 council members, I thought, earlier that were excused. I just wondered who they were.
Please address all your comments to the chair, so please proceed.
I would like to, but I'd like to know, I heard you say earlier that pretty sure multiple council members were excused, and as a citizen making public comment, I think I have a right to know who I'm speaking to on the council.
Oh, I apologize, Mr. Wick. I didn't hear you properly. Councilmembers Morell and Vice Chair Campbell are both excused. The rest are here and listening to you.
Okay, that's all. I just didn't hear who you said, so thank you. I appreciate that. So I requested that the Pierce County Council, specifically that you and Ms. Benson initiate a ordinance which directed the Pierce County Prosecuting Attorney's Office to initiate an investigation. I followed up with an email this morning, so it was very clear kind of what my expectations were. They were reasonable. And what I'm sharing with the council and what's frustrating is an Attorney General Office representative told me that the Pierce County Sheriff's Department is under the purview of the Pierce County Council. So I come to the Pierce County Council and I tell them that we got some serious problems. Multiple felonies, right? I mean, attempting to shoot somebody in their home, destruction of public records, falsifying police records. And I asked the council to initiate an investigation, and it is a matter of public policy and public safety, because if it happened to me, then it could happen to others. And it was not on the agenda this evening. And it puts me in quite a quandary because I've got the AG office saying, hey, the Pierce County Council has authority. And yet the council remains silent. Now, I can infer a couple things from the silence. Pierce County, the council's protecting somebody, or they're okay with these felonies. I'm trying to find an alternate explanation for the council's inaction, given what I was told by the AG representative. And that wasn't verbatim, but that's basically what they said. So I was hoping the council would, today during their study session, actually discuss this and put that ordinance on, the agenda for discussion. But the silence is very frightening and very concerning to me. Very, very frightening. And I'm assuming you all got my email this morning that I drafted. So I thank you, Chair Mello. I don't know what to say. I'm going to remain polite and civil, respectful, and courteous.
Thank you.
But I'm astounded. You're welcome. Thank you.
Next, we have Seek. Name, any, and seek. Please state your name for the record.
My name is Lori Lee Littman. Sorry, I didn't log on as a different name. There's two things I wanted to say. One, I find it very insulting and disgusting that Kruger doesn't come into the chambers because of a pride flag. I served in the military and I'm a disabled veteran, and she has no right to discriminate and to disparage our LGBTQ community. I searched for the pursuit of happiness for everyone, and for her to discriminate and disparage our fellow Americans, I find repulsive and disgusting. If she doesn't like the job that serves the public, including all Americans in Pierce County, maybe she should get out of it. Secondly, I would like somebody to start looking into how veterans are being treated in the family court by the commissioners and judges in this court where you're at. They look at disabled veterans who have PTSD or physical disabilities or a combination of both as unfit parents. And we're getting treated differently in family court because lawyers of the opposite party and families that split up use our disabilities against us, and the court goes along with it. The commissioner judges go along with it. So, I would like somebody to look into that, the discrimination against disabled veterans in family court when it comes to custody cases. Not just mine, because I had a fellow veteran who was trying to get custody of his children, and they denied him custody of his children because he had PTSD, even though he had multiple letters. He had multiple letters from the VA stating that we are just fine. I'm fine. He's fine. So if somebody could look into that, I'd appreciate it. Otherwise, if Kruger can't stand her job and respect all Americans, maybe she should step down. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Littman.
And at this time, we have no other hands, Chair.
With no other hands, we'll close the community forum portion of our meeting. I just wanted to reflect on the request to try to make sure that our district court is what I heard. Our district court is really being culturally competent when it comes to hearing cases of veterans' families, especially disabled veterans' families. Ms. Littman, I'd be happy to work with you to set up a meeting with the presiding judge of district court so that they can hear your observations and history, and the presiding judge can take the information and find that valuable and make sure that they are aware of that as they continue to try to administer justice at the district court. So I'll be happy to follow up or ask our staff to follow up, but we will follow up and try to get in front of the district court with you to make those observations. Thank you. We are at section 11, other business and announcements. Is there any other business or announcements from council members? Well, I'd just like to announce that next Tuesday's regular council meeting at 3 p.m. is canceled. In place of it, we have a in-district, Council District 3 in-district meeting next Tuesday, July 30th, beginning at 6:30 p.m. at the Pierce County Skills Center. So I know Councilmember Kruger has a full agenda planned for us to learn about some exciting initiatives going on at in District 3, and we'll have a proclamation about the county fair there, amongst other very interesting presentations to learn about some really great initiatives in District 3 in particular. So the 3 p.m. meeting is canceled, but the 6:30, we have in place of it a 6:30 special meeting of the council, which is an in-district Council District 3 meeting at the Pierce County Skills Center. Any other business or announcements by members? I don't see any. Ms. Long, any other business for council this evening? With no other business before the Pierce County Council, we are adjourned.